This statement is made jointly by the Indian Law Resource Center and the National Congress of American Indians, NCAI, and is endorsed by the NCAI Task Force on Violence Against Women, the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center, and ClanStar. A critical challenge to the achievement of the MDGs is the omission of any goal or indicator on violence against women or girls. Collectively, the MDGs are tailored too narrowly and fall short of the Millennium Declaration's explicit commitment to human rights and to combat all forms of violence against women. MDG 3 promotes gender equality and empowerment of women, yet the target for achieving MDG 3, eliminating gender disparity in education, is too restrictive. The human rights framework called for in the Millennium Declaration and other international human rights instruments can best inform how countries fulfill their sustainable development obligations and measure achievement of MDGs for women and girls. Violence against women and girls is a pervasive, fundamental violation of human rights and a form of discrimination that persists in every country. Even more dire is the pandemic of violence being inflicted on Indigenous women. Indigenous women suffer disproportionately high, multiple forms of discrimination, violence, and murder because they are women and because they are Indigenous. Achievement of MDG 3 must not ignore the diversity of women or the extreme levels of discrimination and violence that Indigenous women face. Despite steps forward by the United States, race-based discriminatory laws have perpetuated a cycle of violence that affords Indian, and particularly Alaska Native women, less protection than other women, just because they are Indigenous and are assaulted on their lands. Indian and Alaska Native women are 2.5 times more likely to be assaulted than other women in the United States. 1 in 3 will be raped in her lifetime, and in some communities, the murder rate for Indian and Alaska Native women is 10 times the national average. Bear in mind that many more crimes go unreported. As to the existing human rights framework, Article 22 of the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples calls upon states, in conjunction with Indigenous peoples, to ensure Indigenous women and children enjoy full protection and guarantees against all forms of violence and discrimination. We support integration of the UN activities and goals, particularly the rights of Indigenous women and children. We also ask that the UN respond to our concerns and take strong action on this issue at the 2014 World Conference on Indigenous Peoples by supporting 3 recommendations for action to combat violence against Indigenous women and children. 1, convene a high-level conference to examine challenges to securing the safety and well-being of Indigenous women and children. 2, require that a UN body for monitoring the declaration give particular attention to this issue. And 3, appoint a special rapporteur on human rights issues of Indigenous women and children. Thank you.